graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo.
It's around the world at $499 in the US.
PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
If you began gaming in like the late Xbox One, PS4 generation, or even in this current generation, this type of marketing or these type of commercials are something you're probably not used to. But for some of us, they bring back a memory of a time when these console manufacturers were battling an all-out war for your money and your time, and it was a different era of gaming. Long ago are the days where console manufacturers were measuring each other's bit sizes when they were saying which one was more powerful and coming out with things like blast processing power. Long ago are days when people were pushing the newest graphics as the best way to decide what games you're playing. I remember a time when each brand was synonymous with a mascot. Mario to Nintendo, Master Chief to Xbox, Crash Bandicoot to PlayStation. It was synonymous and they were gutting for each other. Cold, ruthless. But there would eventually have to come a time when only one remained as the market leader, as the strongest and the best way to play your games. And I think we finally reached that point where PlayStation has won the console war. I'm gonna say this again. PlayStation has won the console war. I feel like Xbox, this interview with Phil Spencer, cemented their position as last place in the console division, and Phil Spencer said it himself. They're not gonna out Nintendo or out PlayStation in the console space. Even if they made the best games ever, no one is gonna pick up the Xbox. They lost, they waved the white flag. And Nintendo, let's be honest, Nintendo hasn't gone neck and neck with Sony or Microsoft since the GameCube, and they lost the GameCube. That's why they went to the Wii. They went to the Wii U, and now they've burrowed their own little niche out of the gaming market with their hybrid console, and it is phenomenal, and it's working for them. Listen, I love the Nintendo Switch as much as the next guy. It's one of my favorite consoles ever invented, and it's amazing. But let's not kid ourselves. This quirky little idea that Nintendo had with the Switch came out of a necessity. They knew they weren't going to win a graphics war with Microsoft or Sony. It wasn't going to happen. So they went off to create their own style of gaming. They went off to kind of create these little quirks and gimmicks that separated them from the rest of the gaming division. And that's why we had things like motion controls with the Wii. We had the little tablet with the Wii U. And now we have this hybrid console with the Switch. And that's great and I love it. But let's not pretend that the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, the NES, and SNES weren't doing anything that the other consoles were. Now let me make this thing really clear. I'm not happy that PlayStation is the winner in the home console space. They're the only real powerful home console that you can purchase now. That's just the way things happen to be. Back in the day, I had PlayStation, PlayStation 2, I had Xbox, Xbox 360, I had the Nintendo Wii, the Nintendo Wii U. I was there to support all these consoles. I was there to support all brands, and whichever one came out on top didn't matter to me. I was just here to play games, and I was happy that I was getting great games from all different parties. Which brings me to today and how it's kind of weird to see that there's virtually no direct head-to-head competition anymore. Nintendo is doing their own thing, PlayStation is doing their own thing, and Xbox is attempting their own thing. But I feel like no one's told the fanboys yet. No one's told Xbox that they lost, and the fanboys still believe that Microsoft, Phil Spencer, Mike Booty are really out here fighting for them. And it just ain't the case. It isn't the way it was back in the day when they were trying to prove that they're the strongest, that they're the best. They're done fighting. They said it themselves. They want Xbox Game Pass to be everywhere. They don't care if you buy an Xbox for it, if you play it on your phone, if you play it on PC. They're not going to fight anymore. They're done. PlayStation won and beat them, and I think it's time that we just accept this. And even though I hate to say it, but I have to just accept the fact that this is where we live. Long gone are the days where Kevin Butler was making fun of Xbox.
Who wants to pretend their hand is a gun? What is this, third grade? PlayStation moves not only crazy precise, it's also got what we in the future call buttons, which turn out to be pretty important to those handful of millions of people who enjoy playing shooters, platformers, or, well, anything that doesn't involve catching a big red ball.
PlayStation created these commercials out of necessity back in the day because Xbox was really giving them a run for their money. Xbox was making them nervous and put them on their toes. And the back half of the PlayStation 3 generation was some of the best gaming PlayStation has ever delivered. It was awesome time to own a PlayStation 3 back in the day. It was awesome to see the innovations that were consistently coming out, whether it be good, bad, whatever the hell it was. They were willing to compete. But now it's just not really the case anymore. And I feel like, especially with like the PlayStation Move, the Xbox Connect, those came out as a way to try to combat or even like take a piece of that Nintendo Wii market share, which they failed because Nintendo was going to do the weird quirky shit. PlayStation learned its place. Xbox learned its place. They all kind of picked their corners of the gaming market to kind of own as theirs. Nintendo got the weird quirky stuff that comes out with the really fun, creative games. PlayStation has those cinematic, very deep stories that you can't get anywhere else. It brings me more to today. If Nintendo's the quirky guy and Sony is the great cinematic guy, what is Xbox gonna bring to the table? I feel like it's time where Xbox needs to kind of find their own niche, their own thing that they're gonna do better than the other guys, and not compete head to head. If you're gonna say it yourself, you can't out console PlayStation, you can't out console Nintendo. That's fine. But how are you going to carve out your own niche in this gigantic pool of gamers? Is it Game Pass? Is that really going to be your way to kind of get people to buy into Xbox? Because they don't need to. They can get it on PC or on mobile. I feel like if you're just going to be the Game Pass guy, fuck it. Close down the Xbox console division. Push out Game Pass to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. And then you could have just like a Game Pass application for these consoles. It's just really interesting to see what the future of gaming is going to be without this head-to-head competition anymore. And I guess we've kind of seen it for a good minute, but it does make me wonder like what the negative repercussions are going to be and what are we going to gain in exchange for these repercussions. I feel like Nintendo and Sony are kind of firing on a different level than they have in the past. They're coming out with some of the best games I've ever seen them come out with, some of the best experiences that are really fun to play and engage with. And I know what I'm going to be getting into with each one, and I think that's really cool. So I think that is a good gain that we get. But we do start to see some of them get a little bit more stagnant in things that maybe they shouldn't. You know, PlayStation definitely has their formula to building games, and it's hard to see them straying away from that formula. I just don't see them breaking that formula if they don't need to. And with Nintendo, I mean, we've had the Nintendo Switch for 6 years now, and it is outdated hardware. It's been outdated hardware for a long time. So one starts to wonder, had there been more of a competitive need to move on to the next console, would they have done so already? Would we be getting more stronger, capable Nintendo games by now had they've been forced to? And then we have Xbox. If Xbox believed that there was a way that they could beat Sony or beat Nintendo, if they truly believed there was a way that they could out-console them, they definitely would have. So the question is, what is an Xbox look like without their head-to-head competition with PlayStation, without their weird, different kind of innovative pushes into different genres? What do they do next? Well, those are my final thoughts. Let me know down below what you guys think. Like the video if you like the video. Please consider subscribing as it does help me out tons. And with that, I'll catch you guys on the next video.